All right. Russell, what are your thoughts on the UFOs that were intercepted and shot down by the U.S. military last month? I don't know if they're referring to the Chinese balloons. They were not UFOs because we know what they were. They were Chinese balloons. But there were other things. There were some things that they shot that we didn't get, and we don't know what they are. And there are things that we haven't found out what they are after we did shoot them down.
I wonder whether or not the $14 trillion that have been granted to the Pentagon, 55% of which has ended up in the hands of the military-industrial complex, which surely American people are becoming weary of, needs occasionally to be boosted with fanciful ideas of extraterrestrial invasion. Maybe there needs to be a continual reminder that the skies themselves could become a threat unless Raytheon, Lockheed Martin, BAE Systems continue to profit. Elsewise, a balloon, a perfect metaphor, for it is naught but hot air, nothing inside it, shot down by a $400,000 missile, might be coming for your family.
In a dynamic duel of intellect and irreverence, Bill Maher and Russell Brand commanded the stage, their clash embodying the tension between institutional pragmatism and anarchic critique. Maher, ever the sharp provocateur, sought order amidst the chaos, while Brand, with his biting wit and poetic fury, dismantled cultural norms with ease. From TikTok's corrosive grip on young minds to the corporate hypocrisy suffocating union efforts, Brand's incendiary insights forced Maher to pivot and regroup, each exchange a testament to the power of questions that refuse to be ignored. Their sparring turned even extraterrestrial musings into metaphors for societal disarray, setting the tone for a conversation both electric and unrelenting.
I mean, we were just saying here we all should be skeptical and have open minds on everything. It is possible that there's life on other planets that are visiting us or scouting us. I mean, there are even the U.S. Even the U.S.
You've upset him.
I'm just saying it's possible. Carl Sagan said
it is possible. Okay. But if you think that something from another universe came all the way here and was just kind of dragging around and was shot down very easily, I think if it's a UFO, they would have done a little bit better in avoiding and evading that kind of missile.
First of all, we're not saying it's from another universe. We're saying it's from the same universe. The universe is very big. Very big.
Bill, I think Bernie raises a good point. It's not like E.T. would come all the way here and then trip up outside Elliot's house. He's made it all the way here.
I agree. No.
That's the point.
That's the point, Bernie.
Okay. The Chinese balloon is different. I'm not saying the Chinese balloon was from another universe or this universe.
I mean, it would have to be from China. Yeah. If it's a Chinese balloon. And I mean that with all due respect. That's the least it can do.
Well.
Russell Brand's critique of the military-industrial complex centers on the idea that fear-mongering about extraterrestrial threats may be less about actual security risks and more about maintaining the flow of lucrative defense contracts. He highlights the absurdity of using expensive military technology to neutralize objects like balloons, casting it as a metaphor for wasteful spending and misplaced priorities. This skepticism extends to a broader argument about how defense budgets are often inflated by conjuring up existential threats, whether real or imagined. Brand's commentary ties these narratives to the profits of defense giants like Raytheon, Lockheed Martin, and BAE Systems, suggesting a symbiotic relationship between fear-driven policymaking and the financial interests of these corporations. He questions whether the Pentagon and similar institutions sometimes bolster public anxiety to ensure continued funding, implying that these tactics distract from pressing global challenges like pandemics, climate change, and economic inequality. The critique resonates with a historical pattern where governments use external threats, whether Cold War-era communism, terrorism, or now UFOs, as a pretext for increasing defense spending. By pointing out these parallels, Brand urges audiences to consider whether these fears are being manipulated to serve elite interests rather than genuine public safety. His argument invites deeper reflection on how resources could be better allocated to address systemic issues rather than perpetuating cycles of militarization.
I was just going to say, I think that's...
I'm moving on.
The obvious...
You brought Bernie back out here. He won't be happy if you're going to talk about extraterrestrials and balloons and that.
Okay.
If you're looking
inequality.
If you're looking for proof that there's life in outer space, intelligent life in outer space, you need to look no further than Russell. So there's not really another accounting for how a
I'm glad that became a compliment, sir, because I was rearing up.
No, don't you worry. Only compliments, my friend.
With all the emphasis on DEI, are we confusing equality of opportunity with trying to guarantee equity in outcomes? Okay, that's interesting because I think this word equity has come into the language in the last few years, and before that we didn't hear it a lot. And I think a lot of people hear equity and they hear equality. That like it's the same word, and it's not the same word in the same concept. So how would you differentiate between equity and equality?
Well, equality, we talk about, I don't know what the answer to that is. Come to think of it, equality is equality of opportunity. All right? We live in a society, we want all people to have whatever color your skin is.
Equity, I think, is more guarantee of outcome, is it not?
I think so. I think that's
okay. So which side do you come down on?
Equality.
Equality.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Bernie Sanders passionately emphasized the critical role of labor unions in sustaining a strong middle class, framing them as the backbone of economic fairness and opportunity. He criticized the aggressive union-busting tactics employed by major corporations like Starbucks, Amazon, and Apple, which he argued undermine workers' rights to organize and negotiate for better wages and working conditions. Sanders pointed to the National Labor Relations Board's findings of over 50 instances where Starbucks violated federal labor laws as emblematic of a broader trend of corporate hypocrisy. Companies that champion progressive values publicly, but resist efforts to empower their own workers. Sanders further warned that without robust unions, the erosion of the middle class would accelerate, deepening economic inequality and destabilizing communities. He called for legislative and societal support for unionization, highlighting ongoing efforts to hold corporations accountable, such as subpoenaing Starbucks CEO Howard Schultz to testify before Congress. This fight, Sanders argued, is not just about individual workers, but about preserving the social contract that underpins a fair and functioning economy. His stance aligns with a broader critique of corporate America's prioritization of profit over people, urging systemic changes to ensure that labor rights are respected and the middle class is protected.
Boys, any comment on that one?
I just don't know if that's the definitional difference, but certainly this debate over the question of equality of outcome over equality of opportunity is one that has been it's the question that underlies affirmative action and everything else that we've had in our politics for a very long time. And there's obviously people who have very strong, even people who actually want equality of outcome say they only want equality of opportunity and vice versa. But that's that issue, that core of that. What do you actually want? And I think Bernie is where everyone says they want to be, but there are in fact programs that have been designed to actually engineer equal outcomes, not just equal opportunity, and that's where a lot of the controversy has arisen.
Okay, one more. Have Democrats done enough to support strong labor unions, Bernie? What's the future of unions in this country? I think they just subpoenaed the Starbucks dude.
They didn't, I did. That's not fair. No, look. We're not going to have, that is an issue I do know something about and that I pay attention to. And the bottom line is that you're not going to have a middle class in this country unless workers are able to stand up, organize, form unions, and negotiate for decent contracts. And what we're seeing right now is more and more workers wanting to form unions, but you're seeing companies like Starbucks and Amazon and Apple and other large corporations really engaging in illegal union busting. So we have asked the leader of Starbucks, the head of CEO, Howard Schultz, to explain to us why he thinks it's acceptable that over 50 occasions the NLRB has said they have broken federal labor law in breaking unions. So we hope to have him come before our committee. There will be a vote on Wednesday. A vote on subpoenaing him.
And it does seem like there is a strange sort of hypocrisy there, because these are usually liberal companies. I think Whole Foods also. And it's like they care a lot about the indigenous people of the Bolivian Andes, but not about some worker in Cincinnati.
You got it. All right. They're very liberal about everything except whether workers can form a union and earn decent wages. They're very liberal, except whether or not we ask them to pay their fair share of taxes. They're not so liberal then. That's right.
Thank you, everybody.
The critique extended to the broader issue of corporate liberalism. where firms espouse values like diversity and sustainability as part of their public image, but fail to embody those principles in their own labor policies. Sanders pointed to the National Labor Relations Board's findings against Starbucks as a case study in this double standard. He argued that such behavior not only harms workers, but also erodes trust in corporate commitments to social justice, reducing them to performative acts meant to shield profit-driven motives. This hypocrisy, Sanders contended, must be confronted if the US is to build a truly fair and equitable economy. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like, share, and leave a comment with your thoughts. And for more thought-provoking content, be sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. See you in the next one.